This is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained? Gentlemen, 17-8 was our record. John wasn't here last week. Mike, you weren't here last week, but Mike, you've returned. John's still on hiatus. I don't know where he is, but Mike, you're back from Sardinia, and I think you learned a valuable lesson, as we spoke about off camera. You should never, ever go on vacation again and trust somebody with your picks.
Yeah, whoever Prop Z is, he's an absolute muppet. Not cat in hell's chance I'd have picked Canada over Japan. I mean,
well, they were playing in Japan, Mike. Canada, they rock in Canada.
I don't know what college this boy went to, but he's obviously one of the middle-class white dudes, because it's just not happening. I mean, he should get himself a job at USA Rugby on the board or something. I don't know. But not a cat and hell's chance would I have picked Canada over Japan. But
well, yeah, it impacted your. You would have been perfect. You would have been a 5-0 on the week.
There we go.
There we go. And unfortunately, I'm the only one that was perfect last week. I'm the only one that was 5-0. So pat me on the back, guys. I'll take it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Enough about the records and John not being here again, and Proc Z, who is, you notice he got fired. He's not here right now. Let's go right to our first recurring segment. What caught your eye? Gift, what caught your eye?
All right. I'm setting my timer for my full 45 seconds, so just know I'm going to use it all.
Well, so you just used 5 seconds of it to do the disclaimer.
Hey, look, it's already done. No, the point of this is that this week was a history-making week, all right? Shout out to both South Africa and Brazil for showing out and doing something that they had never done before, in Brazil scoring their first try at the Rugby World Cup after being non-existent as a 15 squad for basically the last 6, 7, 8 years, and coming back a year and a half later to do it. And then shout out to South Africa until Nigeria comes in, for getting their first quarterfinals win to be able to do something against Italy, breaking it again, and Italy once again showing that they can't beat African countries. Shout out Ethiopia back in the day.
Ding, 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 he made it. Mike, what caught your eye?
I think there were some cracking moments, and Gift's already talked about the Brazilian one, the try-scoring Costa. But I think I want to look at the Samoan-England result, not necessarily the fact that England scored whatever they scored. It was more about the journey of the Samoan girls. There were so many sub-stories about the loose head who gave birth 8 months ago, has got a lot of family and cultural responsibilities back home. So many of those, I think there's 8 mothers in that Samoan squad. There are a lot of sacrifice, a lot of cultural sacrifices by them and their families on their journeys to get here. So to see them go out there, challenge and fight to the end. Yes, and they get their first 3 points in the World Cup. It's those sub-stories that are the human stories behind it, which I think are so personal and so special about what's happening in this Women's World Cup. Not just the results on the pitch, where you expect the Red Roses fully contracted, being professional for 5 or 6 years. But you saw a Samoan belief and togetherness to stay in the battle from start to finish and be proud and smiling and rising to that challenge at the end and showing out on and off the pitch. Fabulous to see.
And the head coach's post-game press conference, I would recommend everybody watch. And he pointed out, and he got emotional, and he pointed out how they don't play in front of anybody, right? And then they were playing against 13,000 fans who applauded them. It was too emotional for him to handle. I know John would be hysterical right now, but in all seriousness, it was refreshing. His player had to give him a hug and say he's a big softie. It's another one of these sub-stories that we get in the World Cup, and thankfully they're there to experience it. So World Rugby, if you're listening, help prop them up a little bit more, and we'll get more out of this.
By actually telling a story.
Invest in these teams because they then can compete and challenge. Brazil have shown it, Spain, Samoa, they have it. They just need the opportunities. It requires cash and it requires funding.
Cash and funding come into the PNC, the Pacific Nations Cup. And Mike, we're going to get back to your pick because Canada's head coach, Steve Meehan, looked like the next head coach for England and replaced Steve Borthwick the way he had his team just down by 7 at halftime. You know how that revolving door goes. But Japan, as I predicted against everybody else on the panel, walloped Canada ultimately. But kudos to Coach Meehan for keeping them close for the first half in Japan.
For what it's worth, I didn't pick Japan because I forgot that Eddie Jones was coaching them. And I thought they were still the old, or else I would have. Which makes you a hypocrite because you're Mr. Anti-Eddie Jones. So I just want to say, Eddie Jones, I support you. This man is just a fraud. A fraud.
Yeah, but I'm here on a gambling show picking winners and losers.
I think Proxy was the fraud, mate. That's what I think. Let's not dwell on that.
Proxy is here for you guys to use as a scapegoat. Absolutely. Absolutely. But Eddie's back, baby. Well, we'll talk about that in a second.
Eddie's back against Canada. Not really.
In the Pacific Nations Cup, bro. Pacific Nations Cup.
Oh, dear, man. Let's see how he goes against the Fijians.
What also caught my eye was the clickbait rumor of the week that's been floating around about more synergy between Major League Rugby and the URC, and that they may try to figure out doing a doubleheader here on American soil. You know, my ears to the ground. I'm here in Boston, maybe DC, maybe dispel the rumors of one league replacing the other. Maybe they're working together. Maybe in rugby we can work together.
It only makes a difference whoever is that media buyer, all right? They better be begging Rupert Murdoch to do something with it, or else I don't know how they're paying for this travel.
Or it's a two-stage process. We'll do a double header and then we'll integrate you into the league.
Do the test first.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of synergies for the East Coast teams to possibly join the URC in the future. But anyway.
It'll be the drink up after the game. The contract will be signed, right? Okay, we like
beer and bar brawls. Beer and bar brawls.
Hey! Solve all the problems with 4 pints.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to our next recurring segment, Player of the Week. And the candidates are Josh Jacome, the number 10 of Gift's Taranaki side, has as YouTube user DK9HG7BZ21 noted, has got that Finn Russell vibe about him. Others think he's the next All Blacks 10. Great match for him. The Wallaroos, 18-year-old star Caitlin Hulse, an emerging game breaker, had multiple trips to the dry zone, including beating 3 USA defenders in that thrilling 31-31 battle. And last but not least, French number 9, Pauline Bourdon Saint-Sou. Mike, she got back from being banned for bashing referees, something that you might be familiar with. Who is your Player of the Week, Mike Friday?
Thought the Aussie 15 was decent, to be fair. She was a great runner, scored some great tries. But Saint-Sou, she makes this French team tick. She makes them contenders in what's meant to be a foregone for the Red Roses. It's that pack ticking. She's got the back line that can hurt anybody and a pack that can cause some problems. But she's the difference. I know it was against Brazil, but they put Brazil to the sword and she was relentless around the edges. Saint-Sou is the key to France's opportunity of trying to win this World Cup. And she does speak her mind correctly when there are some refereeing interpretations that need to be addressed.
Gift?
Yeah, look, man, these are great choices, you know. Josh Jacome helping me get my wins on Taranaki. Halsey with the are you entertained twice over on the tries, and Saint-Sou. But you know what? I can't do anything with Taranaki because I just don't care that much about NPC. I refuse to celebrate anybody who is going to be going against the USA. I don't care what the results were. So Halsey's out the window. And France was playing in Brazil's face. And, you know, I never will support France anyway. So that's thrown out the window. So I'm throwing my name in there. Nadine Roos for South Africa, who actually played against a team that's supposed to be the favorite in Italy, went through sliced and diced at 15, opposed to her 10 or 9 that she normally is playing, and absolutely showed out against them to get South Africa into the quarterfinals for the first time in program history. Man, that is who really deserves to get that Player of the Week, and really, truly, France forever. I wish nothing but bad results for them the entire. Even England was a lot more respectful in their 92 win over Samoa.
Get your France forever t-shirts at gifttimerugby.com, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, Gift, you brought up a great point, but to piss you off, I'm going to agree with Mike and pick the French player because I know you hate the French. So our Player of the Week this week is Pauline Bourdon Saint-Sou. But Gift, you can keep smiling because we're now going to go to our segment that you love the most.
Whoa, now! Whoa, man!
And the candidates are USA's number 6, Freda Tafuna, had a hat trick in a pressure-packed match, that 31-31 thriller that we spoke about earlier. Then 00, Eddie Jones, he's back, baby, and his team played like grown-ass man, and it pisses off Mike Friday to hear Eddie Jones's name. He's back, man. PNC, he's back. South Africa's women's bomb squad. They just absolutely keep ticking. As Mike Friday said, Gift, who's your grown ass whatever?
Hey, look, we out here keeping it gender neutral if we can be, because you know what? It's all about that hardcore playing. But I'm always going to support the people that support us, that support the nation, and that's going to Freda Tafuna, because USA grinding down for them 3 scores against that Australia team. That's about that. USA. Let's go.
All right, Mike, that's tough to follow, Mike.
It was because Freda, she scored some good tries, but most of them were driving mauls from 2 yards out.
That's all we need, baby.
Freda was reliant on her pack. And I thought the second row, the number 5 from Harvard, I can't remember her name, from USA, was a handful as well. But what a sight. And I mean this in the nicest possible way. When the South African women's bomb squad came on, they made a massive impact. That was like, there's some badass women coming out there. I think they've been unique. They've shown something different, although it's from the men's side, but they've transferred what works in their cultural piece in South Africa, and they've shown out, and they made a massive difference in that Italy game when the whole bomb squad came on. So for me, South Africa women's bomb squad, badass women. Boom.
Respect.
I think you were referring to Gerald Searcy.
Yes.
Yes. The number 5.
She had a fantastic game. She had a fantastic
having a great tournament. Great tournament.
You're going to go Eddie Jones, aren't you? Of course you are. You're going to go Eddie Jones.
No, I'm not going to go Eddie Jones. I think Eddie's great for the game. Love him or hate him. He's polarizing, and that's good. We need characters. He's the villain, and he's a good one. Mate, least expected, mate. Least expected.
Hey, he's mini-me.
Yeah, but I'm going to go with my man Gift. I'm going Team USA. Give me Tafuna every day of the week.
Let's go.
Freda Tafuna is our
Ronez. Whoa, man.
All right, with that, we'll take a quick break, bring in George, and then we'll bring back you guys for a whole slew of picks, including the WRWC, the Rugby Championship, the Top 14, the NPC, and picks of the week. We'll be right back.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
And we're back, and once again, we're welcoming in Mr. George Hook, calling in from Dublin. George, how you doing?
Well, the good news is that women's rugby is attracting probably the biggest audiences it has ever done for the Rugby World Cup in England, and that's good for the game. We're obviously seeing, as part of the problem, a big variation in scores, like Brazil get hockeyed or Samoa get hockeyed. I think that's the point. The point is the women's game is getting proper recognition, and that can only be good.
Absolutely. And, like a kid back in Samoa who's watching the team maybe get beaten badly by England, it doesn't matter. And she can say, wow, maybe I can be there one day on that stage, which is a pretty cool thing.
Exactly so. But
our
headlines with Hook.
The headline is goal kicking in the Women's Rugby World Cup. Take it away, George.
Right. Well, believe it or not, 39 years ago, in 1986, I was a guest at the National Coaching Conference in Lawrence, Kansas. I had never seen a woman play rugby, ever, right? So America was leading the world in women's rugby in 1986. And of course, they won the first ever World Cup, as you know. But they were bedeviled by nonsensical ideas of equality. If the men do it, we do it. So they want to do everything like the men. And that included the ball. Now, we don't have any problem in the Olympics watching women throw smaller javelins, throw smaller disci. So why not play rugby with a smaller ball? Kicking would improve. Line-out throwing would improve because smaller women's hands would control the ball, and passing would improve. What we're seeing in this World Cup, and hugely in the recent Ireland-Spain game, is two of the best goal kickers in the competition literally missed from point-blank range. Is it the size of the ball? Well, I don't know. But the size of the ball is important. I'm telling you now, and I would place my vastly diminishing reputation on it.
But you're not helping it now.
If women played with a smaller ball, their game would improve by 20 or 25%.
Wouldn't the bigger ball be a bigger target to kick?
Of course not. I mean, I was a goal kicker. I come from the generation when forwards were goal kickers. The size of the ball is crucial. I mean, take golf. We used to play in Europe with a 1.64 ball. The Americans played with 1.68. The 1.68 didn't go as far as the 1.64. And then we changed, and it's 1.6 all over the world. So course size makes the difference.
What can be done about the goal kicking? Because it seems to be problematic.
The goal kicking has improved. One has to say this. We're seeing now the best goal kicking, in my experience, the women's game, which goes back to 1991. But we could make it better.
How do we do that?
A smaller ball. Are you listening
It's not
to me?
going to happen. It's not going to happen. So
But it should happen. But it could happen so easily. World Rugby is probably the worst world sporting organization in the world. Cycling, athletics, soccer, all have better world organizations than rugby.
all right, George, before I let you go, I got to hit you with another topic, another headline.
Sure.
Aussie rugby relevant again. The
No.
women tie Team
No.
USA and
No.
the men. No?
No.
Come on. Come on. The thrilling match with Team USA, who you said was going to lose to Australia. And I bet you a Chardonnay over that because I know you don't drink Chardonnay. And Australia now against Argentina at home in Australia. All the buzz. All the buzz.
Yeah. All right. Okay. They won a game. The newspapers are talking about the genius of Joe Schmidt. There's nobody less qualified for the name of genius than Joe Schmidt. Australia are going to get found out in this championship. Sure, the Wallaroos and USA, it was a great game, 31-all in the women. But women's rugby is not going to save Australian rugby. If the Australian men don't perform, it's not going to work. I mean, next weekend is fantastic. For those of you who have a statistical bent, Australia are playing England and they're going to get hockeyed. USA are playing Samoa and they're going to hockey Samoa. The numbers here are going to be very interesting as to who makes the quarterfinal. And listen to me. Ireland plays South Africa in the quarterfinal. I think they'll win and go to the semi-final. And because of good coaching, good organization, and good planning, they're going to make the semi-final. And you take that back to your paymasters at McCarthy Rugby Inc.
I will. And on that note, I want to thank Mr. George Hook for another fun and thrilling
Headlines with Hook.
Thank you, George.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with Gift and Mike after this. You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now.
From New York City comes America's longest running and most popular rugby show. The biggest names in Major League Rugby, MLR highlights, and big match previews. Rugby Wrap-Up presents MLR Weekly, made in New York City.
And we are back, and gentlemen, we have to make some picks and make some money for our fans, for our audience. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is the Women's Rugby World Cup. Mike, who do you like?
I think it's an interesting week because I think there'll be a mixture of gamesmanship going on in terms of those that think they can plan for their quarter-final, which is the game that they'll target. So I am going to look at this New Zealand-Ireland game. Ireland turned New Zealand over in the WXV, but I think Ireland will target their quarter-final as their big game, and they'll rest some people. They've got a couple of injuries. They're missing their 8-wafer as well. And I think New Zealand will spank them.
What do you think? It's going to be a difference of 50 points?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Gift.
I think the most interesting game that's going to be happening this weekend is actually Canada versus Scotland. And especially considering the contract issues, there's a lot of motivation that goes with that Scottish team. But Canada, and I will say, I've said this basically since the tournament started last week, that they're the dark horse to win the championship out of any other team. This is going to be a close game for the first half. I definitely believe the first half is going to be much closer, but I do think Canada ends up running away with it.
Very briefly, I'm going with the improbable USA beating Samoa by the allotted points that they need, and England also winning by that margin for Team USA to advance instead of Australia. Next up, we have the Rugby Championship is back, and it couldn't be better. Some juicy matches. Australia -6 versus Argentina, and New Zealand -4 versus South Africa. Mike, let's look at Australia versus Argentina first. Who do you like?
I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think Australia will get a couple of players back. And I think they'll be buoyant and confident after their South African trip. I think Australia will do a job. Argentina don't genuinely travel well in the Rugby Championship. So I think Australia will win this and cover the 6 for sure.
I got 2 words for you. Harry Wilson.
He ain't Tommy Freeman, though, is he?
Gift.
Yeah, look, on the road, it is definitely a different game for Argentina and Australia. Though they're coming off injuries, they showed out in South Africa. Like, that says something, to say the least.
But how about Argentina making history, guys? We just keep dismissing stuff.
But again, in Argentina. And that's okay. They're on the road, and
whatever.
I think this Argentina team is formidable. It's getting harder for me to be against them.
It doesn't sound that way. It sounds like a Brazilian is up against the Argentinians. That's what it sounds like to me, clearly.
Well, I'll put it like this. I think Argentina will cover, but I do think Australia wins the game.
Okay. I'm going with Australia, but I think Argentina's going to cover it. So I don't think that Australia is going to cover that 6 points. The next match, New Zealand -4 versus South Africa, Mike.
Is it Eden Park as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think New Zealand win this, and I think that New Zealand will win it well. I think, they lost to a very combative Argentinian team week 2, but I think at home, Eden Park, New Zealand, South Africa coming. South Africa aren't playing great, even though they're playing physical. They're not playing great, and I think New Zealand have got too much for them. I think New Zealand win and cover.
Gift.
I got to agree with Mike on this one. I think South Africa has been a little bit disappointing in their play. It's going to be personal. I think New Zealand does cover it at home. They got to win. This is a pride game. New Zealand covers more than the four points.
All right. I think South Africa is going to make history by not making history, and New Zealand winning again at Eden Park and covering that 4 points.
They made history if they won or if they lost. Like what?
That's the wacky way it works on the Rugby Odds, Gift.
That was such a proxy.
Yeah,
that was a Prox Z kind of statement. Prox Z. We're looking at you, Prox Z. Anyway, let's move on to the PNC, the Pacific Nations Cup. Samoa versus Fiji, Mike.
I think Fiji win this easy. I think Fiji are becoming quite a decent outfit. And I think Fiji win. Samoa, I've got a few issues they're still trying to resolve, I think, on the men's side. So, yeah, Fiji to win and cover.
Gift.
Yeah, look, Fiji's going to win. I mean, I think it's just a better team altogether.
We're getting the word from off camera that we're running out of time. I'm going with you guys.
Japan wins over USA. Go.
I'm going with Fiji, and Gift, you're picking Japan over Team USA. Mike, USA, Japan.
Japan, I mean, Japan definitely.
So you're going with Eddie Jones?
I'm going with Japan, yeah.
That's my Friday speak for I'm going with Eddie Jones. He's fantastic. I'm going for we're just trying to cover the spread here, and I'm going to say that Japan wins, but Team USA plays them kind of tough, and it's like a 30-20.
You're drinking moonshine, you are, boy. You're drinking moonshine.
Moonshine 30-30 I'm drinking right now. I think it's going to be a 14-point gap because Team USA is going to play them tough. All right, on that note, we have to take a quick break. Then we'll come back with NPC Top 14 and our picks of the week. after this. Hey, U.S. fans, you can tune into every match live on Flow Rugby. How do we know that? Because we're on there all the time. And we're back, and we're going right to the NPC. Gift, you're on a hot streak right now. Who do you like in the NPC?
Why jump off the train while it's still rolling, man? Let's go Taranaki again. Bay of Plenty got a little simple win last week. Taranaki still killing it. Top team, clearly. Going with Taranaki for the 6.5 points.
Perfect. Mike, death, taxes, and you picking North Harbor, the 3 constants in life. Are you going to keep it with that?
I'm 100. Jed, Melvin, Tom Barr, and my boys, but I think they're up against it this week against Counties. I mean, I know Counties got an 8.5 point. They're going to have to go some. My boy Jed's going to have a game of his life. Tom Barron's going to have to just tear it up. But yes, North Harbour may not win, but I think they will more than stay under the 8.5 that they have.
They keep losing, but they keep covering for you.
And my boys, that's what they do.
Just enough. Okay, I'm going to go back to my cash cow. Hawke's Bay -3.5 versus Wellington. The top 14. Mike, who do you like?
Oh man, you can't look past that Bordeaux La Rochelle game. It's going to be an absolute cracker for game 1, but I think Bordeaux will win at home and more than cover against La Rochelle. O'Gara's looking to make a statement this year, but Bordeaux to win at home and cover 6.5.
You could look to make a statement, but when your guys are pushing 40, it's a little bit tough.
They've signed well. They've got LeGarrette in at 9. But Bordeaux are formidable. Yeah, for Bordeaux backline, if they're already viewed above, then.
Gift.
Yeah, look, Toulouse is most likely going to take this one. Hey, Ramos has been the great replacement. Man is doing his thing, acting like Keanu Reeves in the replacements itself. So look for Toulouse to be one of the only teams to win on the road because they're the only ones that seem to care.
And give me Castra at home versus Poe. And that means it's time for John's favorite segment, Picks of the Week, Johnny. Mike, who do you like?
I am going to go for an interesting one. I think in the Women's World Cup, France will go all out, and I think South Africa will have one eye on the quarterfinal. So I think South Africa will underperform in this game against France. France will do a job and do a reasonable job on the scoreboard. So the overs will be on France to beat South Africa women.
Wow. All right. Gift.
Yeah, I'm going to call the score in the Canada-Scotland game, 45-17, Canada over Scotland.
And I'm going to go with the over in the Argentina-Australia game. It's going to be over 45 points scored in that match. And on that note, guys, we're out of time, so I want to thank John Bradshaw, Layfield, the WWE Hall of Fame return rugby advocate, King Gift Egbelu, the Inventor of Words, Mike Friday, the 3-time Olympic sevens coach, George Hook, the Irish legend, and thank you for tuning in. Please check out MLR Weekly. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Sign up for our weekly newsletter. And please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.
I wish you'd give all your blood to somebody. Wrap it up!